Welcome back, witches. Long time no talk. I've been off YouTube for about a month, I think. And before we dive back into regular videos, I just thought I would sit down and have a little chat about kind of where I have been and where I think that I am going, or changes that might be coming. Podcast has, of course, been going on as usual, so those episodes have been up every Wednesday and will continue to be so, but I was posting here on Fridays and then took a break, and I did have lots of content over on Patreon, but I pre-filmed it, so I have just been completely off screens for over a month, and it has been fabulous. I think I posted on Instagram sometimes to stories just to share the podcast episode that was out, but otherwise was not on Instagram, did not watch any television, did not go on my computer at all, just no screens. And it was so nice and needed. And I really enjoyed the break and just getting stuff done. I really just don't like screens. So I have not watched anything. The only exception to that is the 5th season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. The final season came out. I am recording this on the Sunday before Memorial Day. You are watching it on Friday. So that came out last Friday. So it has been fully released for a week now. So I'm not going to give any spoilers because I assume lots of people haven't watched the full season yet. But if you have, then send me a message, let me know your thoughts, or if you have no spoiler thoughts, then absolutely leave those in the comments, because I have a lot of thoughts on that show. But I love it. I love Mrs. Maisel, and I'm sad that it is over and not going to be on anymore, because that is probably the only current show that I watch. Otherwise, I just go back and watch things that I have watched a million times, like West Wing. But I'm just generally not much of a TV person. I would rather read. And there was a point in the beginning of May where I was caught up to, I have read as many books as there were days in the year so far. So I think it was 126. So I read 126 books in 126 days. So that was aggressive. And I'm a little bit behind now. I think at the time of recording this, I'm at about 136 books. And they were overwhelmingly all fiction, specifically fantasy fiction, sci-fi. I read very few witchcraft books, which is strange for me, especially considering that behind me is basically a giant TBR pile. And other than reading, I've just been kind of around the house and adjusting to my husband's new schedule, because he, during the spring and summer months, a little bit into fall, he works 2 jobs. So I've talked before about how he is a firefighter, but he also works a construction job, and he takes the winter months off and just goes back in the summer for a little while longer, maybe another year or two. It's not, career. It's just something that he enjoys doing for now. And it is union. So we're considering, pension things. That makes a difference in how long he's planning on staying at that job. I'm sure those of you who are in unions know exactly what I'm talking about. So from going to him working the firehouse schedule is 24 hours on and 48 hours off. So from going to that to him working basically every single day has been quite an adjustment, and lots of different ways the house works in terms of things like cleaning and meal plans. That is very different in these months. So just been adjusting to that, as well as the fact that my mom finally came home. She's been in Florida since November sometime, I think. So it's been a really long time, and we have been staying at her house a little bit. You probably saw some of those videos filmed there, but she is back. So there's been lots of just things to do with her, both getting her house in order, my house in order. She helps with my gardening and stuff, and just spending time with my mom. And we also had a party for the Kentucky Derby, and it was kind of a derby, celebrate the fact that we finally got married last year. We've been together for 10 years, but we finally decided to just sign some paperwork. So it's a celebration of that, and just everyone seeing the new house after all of the construction is finally done. So it's fun, but there is quite a bit of both planning and cleanup that goes into hosting a party for that many people. Just, food and drinks and chairs and tables, getting everything all set up. So that took a lot, and then obviously cleanup was an effort for that too. So I'm actually just now feeling like I am getting my house and my life back and some semblance of control over things. So there is more story to that, of course, of family drama and adjusting to my new schedule, which I am going to go over more information over on Patreon. So if you are watching this and you're a patron, that is coming Monday. There's a part 2 of this, or an extension of this video, I guess. But I always think of Patreon as like the smaller community and the better place to do like more personal details and, you know, life stuff is over there. So if you haven't joined Patreon, I'll have that linked below. It's just $5 a month. So mostly I haven't been filming anything for YouTube because I very much believe that I don't want to force it. And it's not going to come across as great content if I'm trying to just force something out there for the sake of being able to post every Friday. And I did not have anything to post at all because I wasn't doing anything. So it was very much witchcraft burnout. And usually I experience burnout just because of social media influence and seeing all the other things that people are doing and feeling like I'm not doing enough or not doing it well enough. But this time it was not that, because obviously I was like complete screen break. I just did not feel connected to my witchcraft at all in anything that I had been doing. I didn't want to read any of the books. I didn't want to do any of the usual things that I do. I mean, I kept protections going on my house because I felt like that was important. But most of the stuff that, you know, the kitchen witchcraft, the green witchery, I just wasn't doing anything. I was physically doing the tasks of gardening and cooking, but I wasn't putting any sort of energy or intention into the things that I was doing like I normally do. I would say that it did start with a sense of overwhelm of just content creation and consumption. So this is, you know, apology to all of I have wonderful friends here on YouTube and in the witchcraft community. We have a witchy content creators Discord server that we chat in. You have heard from my friends on the podcast, and Ivy and Heather, Rhiannon, and Dina. Like, I usually watch all of their videos and, you know, more. So I have this long list of all of their videos that I haven't watched in the last month and a half, haven't commented on. So friends, I'm sorry, but I'm starting over at this point. I'm just going to pretend those don't exist and like start over from here. So apologies, but I think you've all been there. And by the way, if you're ever curious who I watch on YouTube and who I follow, let me know. I will make a video about that and share all of their channels below. So that feeling of overwhelm kind of then, you know, snowballed into the rest of my life of just feeling overwhelmed by, you know, house stuff before the party, of like getting all these last little things done, like replacing the bathroom sink. It was just like all of these little things on the task list that was stressing me out. And now those things are all over and I don't feel that same sense of overwhelm, but I do still feel a disconnect from my witchcraft practice as I was practicing it. And I love witchcraft. I love, you know, simple things and including those in my daily life, but what I was doing before wasn't working for me, and sitting down to like jump back into those things and just start doing what I was doing before really does not feel right for me at this moment. So I decided that I kind of want to do some new things, and this was further confirmed by a life reading that I had with Gabriella. At the time that you are watching this video, that podcast episode has not gone up yet, but she is coming soon. So you will hear all about that and about her life reading practice and, you know, where she has been and how she has learned all of the skills that she has. I am going to go ahead and link her below in this video in case you want to check it out already, but know that that information is coming. But we did a really great life reading where she did my birth chart and numerology and kind of like looking ahead of like what's coming for me in this year and into next year. So much interesting information. And even though I know the basics of my birth chart and numerology and stuff, she was able to just go so much more into depth, because it is a lifelong practice and study to learn all the ins and outs of birth charts and astrologies. There's so much information there, and it's not, you know, my personal area of expertise. So I like deferring to experts, and she is one of them. And we had such a great reading, so much information. I'm glad she recorded it because I have to go back and refer to so many things. But a lot of what was in that reading just sort of confirmed that I need to make some various changes in my life, and the witchcraft practice and the sharing of it online is one of those things. So again, that's sort of the specifics that I'm going to get into on Patreon. So head over there if you want to exactly like see everything that was in my life reading. As far as what that means for the podcast, I'm not totally sure yet. I have recordings and guests and, you know, lots of episodes and things scheduled until the end of August. So I wouldn't even think about changing that content or attempting anything over there until that time, until the fall sometime, if I even do. I like having the guests and everything. So we'll see what happens over there. But as far as YouTube content and Patreon content, it is going to be sort of a starting over journey. And I hope that you find that interesting. It's really going to be me starting with my base intuition. I have a tarot deck that I love and connect with, and a pendulum as well, and just my, gut instincts. And I am going to sort of just start over and be very open to any sort of path that presents itself. Because I'm always like, I don't do religion. I don't want to do deity work. There's certain aspects of practice that have never really interested me. And I am going to instead keep an open mind and use that intuition and tarot and things to guide me and see what is going to be calling to me next, because it doesn't just feel like, oh, burnout, let's slowly get back into the things that I know work for me. And instead it feels like it is time to try something new and to spark new creative energy. And that is definitely something that came across in Gabriella's life reading. That was like a huge point. So I agree with that and like felt it before she even said that. So I hope that content will be interesting to you. So whether you are a beginner and starting on your witchcraft journey, I feel like that might be helpful for you. But also if you are like me and a veteran practitioner and you are just changing where you are in life and trying to find something new that sparks interest in you because what was working before isn't working anymore, then this might be a helpful journey for you as well to follow along on. But I am really going to be doing all of this sort of beginner stuff. I'm going to go back to some of my more beginner books. I'm going to use my tarot to guide me into what sort of practices I might want to look into, which books I should read next. I'm going to start a completely new grimoire, or Book of Shadows. So if you are at all interested in that, then let me know, because I can do an entire video just on starting a grimoire from scratch and what that looks like and what I would be including in that, because I think that's like an important sort of jumping off point, is to change over into a brand new like space to keep track of everything that I'm doing and learning. And I love the grimoires. They're just so pretty and so much fun to work with. But that's everything that I wanted to share in this video. Expect some, back to basics beginner content in the next few episodes, kind of just showing what I'm doing to start over. And if you would like even more, sort of dramatic details, that stuff is over on Patreon. And patrons, I will see you on Monday for that information. Otherwise, I will see you next week.